Welcome, traveler, to the great beyond, the vast void of outer space, just beyond the reach of your mortal coil, the vastness of the heavens. Hello, the name is Zuzu, and this here is my partner Mizo. We are Zetans. Yes, those Zetans, the one and only. We've recently been assigned to a new world. I believe its inhabitants refer to it as Earth. Quite beautiful, isn't it? Vast, with a great big blue ocean and lush green forest, unlike our home world. But it's got more than beauty. It also has plenty of resources. Resources that we intend on collecting to create ourselves a proper station in orbit, and perhaps we'll even sell some of or something. I suppose we'll have to see. But these resources will not come easy, as the planet is also inhabited by great monstrous beasts known as humans. They fight amongst themselves like wild animals, and have most recently been on the cusp of nuclear war for quite some time. Since they're about to blow each other up, we were thinking maybe we should go ahead and maybe get some resources, as well as maybe also some human test subjects for experiments before they end up destroying the place. First things first, we're going to be heading down to some of the rockier regions. That way we can acquire things like steel and components. Would you look at those mountains? It doesn't get much more beautiful than this, Mizo. However, that being said, there will be plenty of time to take in the beauty in another 50 or 60 years when the humans are done destroying each other. For now, we have a lot of work to do. Just as we had suspected, this place was rich in steel ore. The mountains were absolutely blistered in it, and we were mining as much as we could, which was more than you might suspect. Don't let our small frames fool you. We are quite the industrious species, and our working capabilities are unmatched. But even the superior Zetan race has metabolic needs. We require sustenance, I'm afraid. Luckily, a scan of this planet has detected that most of their wildlife is safe for consumption, such as this badger, I believe they call it here. My apologies, lesser life form, but I require your flesh. Little do you know you are funding a much greater cause. Truly yours is a noble sacrifice. But we can't eat him like this. We must put him into our nutrient paste dispenser so that his flesh becomes a nice, delectable, sticky pudding-like substance. It's a bit of an acquired taste, but oh yes, our species loves it. Truly, it is a delicacy. Don't knock it until you've tried it. However, I completely forgot we do have an automatic hydroponics machine aboard our vessel, so we could create our own nutrient paste meals from here. It just takes a few days. Until then, I suppose we'll hold ourselves off with that badger meat, eh? We had to make sure we kept ourselves well fed and also well rested. We had a lot of work to do, mostly manual labor, with that being all this mining of compacted machinery and steel. Basically exactly what we were talking about earlier. A bit boring, not much to say. I've thought of something. The mod list for this video and this series is in the video description, as it is for every series that I do. I should also mention, though, I have a lot of outdated ones in this and a lot that don't play well together, so it probably won't work for you, but it's there if you want to try. Mostly because Zetans are part of Fallout, and so, of course, we have a lot of Fallout mods, and this also takes place in my RimWorld Fallout universe that I've created that have a lot of other series if you ever want to watch those. Anyways, I'm done shilling my own content to you. We're currently building some nice storage facilities aboard our vessel. That way we can carry a holy shit ton of steel and other resources back into orbit. These resources are going to be absolutely crucial for building our station. However, we are missing one vital component, and that is plasteel. Now, plasteel can be found on the planet itself, but it is quite rare. We would have much better luck, I think, checking some of the asteroids in orbit around the planet. Matter of fact, we're already detecting some with some pretty decent-sized plasteel veins. Well, Mizo, I suppose we already know our next destination. Let us not waste any time. Oh, what have we here? A human attack? Indeed, it would seem so. I'm surprised that they were even able to detect our vessel. Maybe they're a bit more technologically advanced than we gave them credit for initially. Well, something tells me that they're not looking to take us to their leader. I suppose we'll just have to deal with them. The human defense force, or search party, whatever you want to call them, that are coming for us appear to be carrying some pathetic ballistic weapons. Damn near primitive, nothing like the superior blasters that we possess. However, even so, that is 7 against 2. So even with our superior blasters, I don't think we'll be able to fire on them fast enough for us to kill them all before they kill us. There is another option, though. We very quickly man our ship and its weapon systems, and we start killing them. Looks like we hit a couple of them with our initial barrage. Looks like we have quite a bit of time before they reload, so we'll see how it goes once they are. They're getting extremely close to the ship, and we've got about 30 seconds left on the clock before we can fire. We also have a certain radius. If they get within this radius, we will not be able to hit them. However, I think this water is going to save us here, as it is slowing them down quite a bit. We got 10 seconds before we fire. Let's see how it goes. 5 seconds. So close. Alright, so we managed to kill one and we injured another. They're not exactly attacking the ship yet. Maybe they were basking in its glory and its amazement? I don't know. But we're going to kill them now. Oh, yes, you poor little primitive bastards. Primitive, of course, does not mean that they are not a bit dangerous here. Let's see if we can take cover. We have very small frames, so of course we have to be quite careful with how we handle this. Oh shit. Oh, whoa, 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 come this way. Move, move, move. Damn, damn, damn. There we go. Scared me a bit. This guy was shooting us from behind is why. Are we injured? We have a bruise, so we should be fine. We have a human soldier over here. This one's alive. I wouldn't mind keeping some of them alive as test subjects, but I don't know if that's going to work out. We have incredibly short range, so let's go around the side of the ship and try to finish off this guy. Let's sneak up on him here, and if we can manage to hit him a time or two. There we go. This guy is still alive. You might be interesting. Let's tend to him, and we'll actually try to keep him alive. He could be our human test subject. I think that would be quite interesting. If he doesn't bleed to death or get an infection. I don't want to waste any medicine on him, of course. I think I'm also going to go ahead and manually start to haul in all of the corpses of the humans. Now, they can't be test subjects for obvious reasons because they're dead. However, they and their weapons not only could be sold to other species of aliens, perhaps, or our own species, but we could also dissect them and maybe see if there's anything interesting inside of them. I think that would be fun. Unwaveringly loyal. Well, human, we will just have to break your mind, I suppose. I'm going to strip you, though, of your clothing. We don't need you to have any armor, I'll say. Yes, though, we are going to take all of their ballistic ranged weapons, whatever primitive things those are, as well as their melee weapons. And then we are going to head to space. So let's go ahead and get that done, and then we're going to go to an asteroid and get some plasteel so we can start building some shit. I gotta say, I think we have a bit of a personal grudge against the humans now, since Mizo here has lost their right eye due to one of those stupid ballistic weapons. Damn dirty sons of bitches. You're gonna regret that, pal. Another time, though. For now, our priorities are in check, and we are flying to the asteroid that we were scanning just a day or so ago, arriving shortly thereafter. Even as we were landing, we could see scattered across the asteroid surface bits of metal and constructs everywhere. Blah. Looks like the humans have already been here. Let's hope that they didn't get all those minerals that we needed, otherwise we might have to find another way to get them, like blasting all of them in the head. Ugh, what kind of species leaves their junk on the asteroid? Why can't you just pick up your trash with you, for God's sake? They even left some type of beautifully colored shower curtain? I don't know. Before we start harvesting resources, though, we are going to check all the corpses of those humans outside of our ship. Now, why might we be doing this? Well, this is so that we can keep them fresh frozen for our dissection and experiments and things like that. Can't have them rotting on us, now can we? And so it begins. We found many small little veins of plasteel ore, but to the southern part of the asteroid we found a great big vein. Perhaps the largest vein that we had ever seen, chock to the absolute brim with plasteel. So much in fact, it would actually take us several days to finish mining all of it, and about another day or so more to get it all hauled into the ship. But we had finally gotten it done without issue, I might add, perhaps because humans are not yet spacefaring, or at least not in the way that we Zetans think about spacefaring. They can only go to their little local area, their moon and some asteroids. Quite pathetic, really. With that, though, and all of our resources, as well as the dead human corpses, and our one living in tow, we would head to a higher orbit around the planet, the perfect spot for our star station. For this is not only going to be for Earth, this is going to be the Zetan hub of the Sol system. One for all of our grandiose research and other types of work. A true floating sanctuary here in the stars. That being said, that goal is still a little bit of a ways off before we even get started on it. Right now we're going to focus on more pressing issues, such as a proper communication console. That way we can radio back to our Zetan homeworld whenever we so choose, and even better, we'll also be able to communicate with Zetan and other alien species trade ships. I might be wondering, what is it that you plan on trading for resources, though? How could you possibly have anything that they would want to purchase? Well, as you can see, some of the dissection on these humans led to us finding out they have organs. Who would have guessed? Certainly not us. We weren't sure what was in there, but anyways, we could trade these off. They should fetch a fair price, and we have plenty of them. All kinds of kidneys and lungs and hearts and even some livers. Oh my. And in exchange for these organs, we'll be able to buy ourselves some more steel, plasteel if need be, components, advanced components, you get the gist. And so we would. That way we could start ourselves a great big resource stockpile of all the things that we would need for our station, cutting the time between us actually getting to make it in half. Certainly beats collecting and or crafting all of these things ourselves. However, no matter our plans at this world and what we have in store, it must be addressed that there is a severe lack of manpower between the two of us. We require more Zetans for this mission, it is clear. But as you may have noticed, we don't have a biological sex. Or any genitals for that matter. So, how exactly do we plan to create more of our species? Well, I'm glad you asked. With the power of technology, of course. Did you really think all those components and things that we were buying were just going to be for the station? Well, kinda, sorta. But we're actually going to be building some growing vats. Our species evolved out of mating eons ago, and now we rely on cloning. A technology and practice that the humans are far from mastering, but we are quite familiar with. It will take quite some time, but in the very near future, we will have 2 exact replicas of Zuzu, which is also me. Which is great. This does mean, however, that more of our food will be going to our clone embryos instead of, say, our test subject. Well then, I guess we'd better get to experimenting before we toss him out the airlock. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and take a DNA sample of him, as well as a nice blood sample. That way we can start some experiments on it, and we'll sell it when we're done. Now then, let's start poking around in his nervous system and see if we can put him into a coma, shall we? It would seem that it worked. Perfect! We've learned a lot from this little experiment, and the best part is, while he's in this coma, his hunger rate will be the bare minimum. We won't hear any complaints in his foreign human language about being hungry, and he'll be asleep most of the time. The human is asleep and we have 2 clones growing. This seems like a solid, ample opportunity to start on the construction of our station. For now, we're going to be going with something quite simple, just a spherical station that is going to be powered by solar energy, of course, with an airlock on each side. I did end up making the silly little mistake of having the doorways be 2 cells wide, and that's a silly little mistake because it seems like most of the things that you construct and save our ship are about 3 cells wide or some other uneven number, so they're not going to be perfectly symmetrical. I'm sure that's going to drive you crazy, and me too. We'll fix it at some point. Probably not. I'm sorry, look, I haven't played in quite some time, and especially not in 1.6 until now. We'll figure out how to make it beautiful, though. In the meantime, as we've been doing all this construction work, it looks like our clones are finally growing to their childlike stage, although they still have a lot more time in the oven before they're finally baked. In the meantime, we have been doing a lot more construction on the station. I didn't show all this because I thought it might get a little bit boring if you're just sitting here watching me build all day, but I will bring you in here for the final stages, or at least final stages for now, I suppose. Since our main mission here is to study this planet and its inhabitants, we are going to be going with something of a research station look, right? We've kept our spherical design. You'll notice the internal portions here are going to be for our studies, and we have a bit of an outer hallway, so as we continue expanding, we do have that buffer point so that things don't get exposed to the vacuum, like our skin or our test subjects. We have 4 rooms here in the main area that are going to be for our test subjects, the humans. We have some operating tables, that way we can perform surgeries and other experiments on them. Each room also is adorned with a plant from our home world. Now this isn't really for any of our patients and test subjects, but more for us as we're performing these experiments to keep us happy and to remind us what it's all for. We also have a centralized diagnostic terminal that is connected to all 4 of these rooms. That way we can check in on the metrics and stats of all the patients. Basically, just make sure that they're not dying until they're supposed to. And we also ended up building our own hydroponics area here in the station, meaning that it is now self-sustaining in terms of food and able to grow its own. Not that much food as of right now, but it's a decent start. And it would seem that our test subject is finally awake. Welcome to your new home, my little friend. I hope you're ready and greased up for your probing. Not to worry, you will be. In the meantime, the stage between childhood and adulthood for our clones is taking an unbearable amount of time, and I grow bored sitting around and waiting on them. So I've actually ended up building a couple of growth accelerators for both growth vats. This should really speed up the process, thank God. And as we were waiting on them to finish up those last few stages of growth, we would also end up purchasing them some proper suits, as well as ourselves some components and other things, of course. Finally, after an extremely long period of time, our clones were fully grown, going by the names of Lips and Squirt. They named themselves, I don't know. Well then, you two, let us not dilly-dally, get your suits on, for we have a lot of work to do. It's a good thing our suits are color-coded, otherwise I might forget who's who. We're all so devilishly good-looking. Now, as mentioned earlier, thanks to our pure Zayton DNA and our technological prowess with cloning, these two are exact copies of myself. Skills and all. Which is great, because that means they're going to be quite useful right from the jump. We have a lot of work to do on our station, as well as a lot more trading to do so we can get more resources to go about this expansion. Perhaps we can trade off some blood of our test subject or something, but this is what I like to refer to as the safe work. The more dangerous work is heading back down to the planet to interact with humans and other species. Luckily, now that there's double the manpower, we can send our clones to do that shit work. And in the meantime, while they're down there, they can also get us some more steel and other items that we need while we're up here building. It's the perfect plan, as long as they don't get slaughtered down there. But between you and I, even if they do, we could just clone some more. We've landed in a secluded valley between the mountains. Perhaps this will help us stay off the radar of the humans of the area, even if only for a limited period of time. Ah, such natural beauty. One could be forgiven for forgetting about the self-destructive species that run the whole place. Speak of the devil, it would appear that they used to have some type of base or something here. Our ship is picking up some odd gamma rays. The remnants of past human experiments, perhaps. This could be some type of abandoned laboratory of sorts. It seems they like to experiment on things almost as much as we do. But alas, it is best if we don't linger here for too long. Even so, we'll deconstruct some of these ruins to take some material samples back to the station with us, and even some artifacts. If nothing else, I suppose they'll be great souvenirs for our home planet. With that out of the way, though, we immediately started mining steel and compacted machinery, and that was about it, of course, as that's really all of the materials that were here. We done that for several days and started loading it onto the ship. Not much of mention until a pact of great grand beast with gigantic teeth and claws came from the western area. And if you believe it, they weren't friendly. Whatever these lab-grown monstrosities are, I have no plans of taking them on head on. Well, hopefully not. Gonna use our ship's weapon systems. Which appears not to be going too well so far, as we completely missed. And they're going to take an incredible amount of time before they're reloaded to assist us again. Oh, and they're already on us. That's not good. Let's lock the doors. They are not too tickled about us being in here. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and, yeah, we'll keep the doors locked. We will not be going outside. It looks like our weapons are targeting them, though. The ship's defenses are online, so we've got about 3 seconds left, and they should actually start firing. Oh, all right. So we managed to kill one. Another is very much injured from burns. So, yeah, I think we'll just stay inside and enjoy some of our delicious nutrient-paced meals. Meanwhile, our ship will hopefully take care of this little threat for us as soon as the weapons are cooled down and as soon as they stay outside of this range, which they kind of seem to be for the most part. This is going to take a while, I think. I noticed that they're eating one another, which is a little bit disturbing, I'm not gonna lie. If they're willing to do that to one another, I'd hate to see what they would do to us with their gigantic teeth and claws. We've managed to kill one of them, and 2 of them are currently downed. It's pretty good work, I guess, so far. I'm sorry, I'm extremely nervous. I'm very scared. They don't seem to be attacking the ship because they seem to just kind of be like beasts who are a bit unaware of what's happening. But I think if they came around to the glass and saw us in our piloting bay here, they would definitely try to rip it apart. So let's hope that that also doesn't happen. Another one down. Looks like we've got 2 more. Both of which I think, yeah, they're pretty injured. This one is not, this one is. I would like to just go out with our lasers blasting, but I'm pretty sure that they would rip our tiny little green heads off our bodies, so I'd rather not. Oh, another one down. Are they not targeting this one? I don't think they see it yet. Let's force the target here. Oh, we missed. Okay. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, they're cannibalizing each other again. You know what, though, actually? I think that they've eaten enough, and they don't seem to be Manhunter anymore. What about you? Yeah. Or you. That's interesting. I mean, we still have to be quite careful because they could start hunting us, but I don't think specifically they're going to be attacking us. Let's step outside and see if that is the case. We'll stay at the door just in case we have to retreat. Yeah, they don't seem to be attacking us, which is good. They could start hunting us, like I mentioned, so oh, they're resting though. You know what? I know that they're eating the corpse of their friend here, but what if we maybe just so happen to... Oh, we actually have this one that's injured. How bad are you? Well, you lost your tail, but other than that, we could treat you. Why don't we start tending to one? And listen, I know this is going to be crazy, but we could theoretically take it aboard the ship and take it back to the station and put it in a cage. It could be cool to have as a pet, or perhaps even cool to maybe sell off to some intergalactic traders, some fellow alien species like ourselves, or back to our own species, our home world. Oh, you are... I really wanted to pick you up. Thing is, I kind of need you to be downed so I can save you. There we go. Rescue, wait, if you could please not, yeah, okay. Don't worry, little fella, we'll take good care of you. Not to worry, now we'll tend to you and we'll get you back to our little orbital sanctuary before any of these filthy humans find you, of course, and try to stuff you back in one of the laboratories that they made you in. I also want to go ahead and collect this dead one here. Perhaps its meat or something might be useful to us. We could sell it, or perhaps it might be good for our studies and our things of that nature. Hello, don't mind me, tiptoe next to the giant sleeping murder beast. Just gonna take your friend's dead corpse inside. Yes, sweet dreams and whatnot. Alright, so we have a dead one, and you know what, this one might actually end up eating that one, but that's okay, because we do have a live one once we get it tended to. I must say, I think although we didn't really get all that many resources, we got a decent bit of steel and components. I definitely think that we've overstayed our welcome here, and it'll be best for us to go ahead and head back to the station that we're building before any of the local human populace comes back. Although we should grab some more components here and other things that we have, of course. Again, though, kind of overstayed our welcome, especially with these great big beasts being in the area. I'd hate for some of them to, you know, I don't know, start hunting us and actually rip our heads off. So yeah, let's just grab some components and get the hell out of here, huh? And so we would, with a dead Deathclaw in tow and a living one in tow. It's a pretty big achievement, as well as, of course, the steel and other things that we got. Once we finally arrive back at the station, it would seem that we have accomplished quite a bit. We have expanded out in each direction with a brand new section of the station. Starting off here, we have our battery room, where we will be generating power in the very near future with a proper fission reactor instead of just solar panels, and of course we also have all of our capacitors to store excess power. The heart and soul of any star station. We also have a small crew quarters with a bed for each and every one of us, which, let me be honest with you, is a pretty big improvement, as previously we've all been sleeping on the ship. Sure, the rooms are pretty bare bones, but some improvement is better than none at all. Oopsie poopsie, looks like our little human pet died while we were away. Most likely a byproduct of the expansion of our station. As you can see, we did accidentally let the icy cold chill of the void in while we were constructing. I think we also lost power while adjusting our capacitors to their new location, which is probably also what caused it. Such a shame. Now we'll have to get ourselves a new meat bag to probe. Oh well. Moving right along though, as we saw earlier, 2 out of the 4 sections of the station are currently occupied, with that being our crew quarters and of course our power generating area. But this one here we are going to be turning into a refinery. Somewhere we can produce our very own fuel for the station and for our ships out of organic material. Materials like, you guessed it, human meat. Remember all those soldiers who tried to attack us in the beginning of the episode? Well, their corpses are empty of organs, and they're just kind of floating around out in space turning blue. We might as well use them. And use them we would, cutting them into large chunks and then stuffing those into the refinery, turning them into proper fuel. Now luckily, the engines keeping our station in orbit are electric and do not require fuel, unlike our ship thrusters, meaning we won't have to expend all that much of this new fuel. But the downside, of course, is that these thrusters are quite weak on the station, which really sucks when things like asteroids start wandering our way and start beating the absolute hell out of the station, causing quite a bit of damage. Our thrusters being weak means that we can't get away from them all that quickly, and of course we have to constantly rely on our stored power. Thankfully, there wasn't that much damage. From the asteroids, that is. We accidentally burned a great big hole through the station with our ship's thrusters. Oopsie. Not to worry, we moved our ship out of the way so that doesn't happen again, and we also brought in that death claw that we got from the surface into our refinery room. There's so much human meat lying around, I thought it might be good for it to eat some of that, keeping it sustained and also keeping it from hunting us in the station. Plus, while it's in here, if it starts hunting us, we could crack open an airlock and try to kill it if we have to. As for the other one, it is dead. Not much we could do with it other than dissect it, maybe eat some of this meat. I'm guessing it's a bit of a hot commodity around these parts. We could also sell off its skin as well as a few other things like human leather that we had. There are some extraordinary, exotic traders who would be willing to make rugs or something out of it. And in exchange, we could get materials to make ourselves a shield generator, as you see now. This is what I was talking about earlier on when I said that things aren't going to be quite symmetrical. As for right now, we'll fix it later. A shield generator is just what the doctor ordered. I'd like to see some asteroids try to hit us now. Or perhaps even some enemy vessels try to attack us. Yes, that's right. The Zetans aren't the only hostile species in these parts. And once some of them find us, no doubt we'll be engaged in some orbital combat. And when that time comes, we have to make sure that we are more than ready. Part of being ready is also being ready to escape if we have to, whether that be escape to the surface, jettison into space, or even if we're injured, just jumping into a cryo-sleep casket. I don't know. But we want to be ready for all possibilities, so we built cryo-sleep caskets. We also finally constructed that fission reactor that we needed, and once we get this bad boy powered, we won't be constantly relying on solar energy. We'll be using it as a bit of a backup source, I suppose. I also realized that that damn Deathclaw is eating up all of our food, and currently I don't think we have anyone who's willing to try to tame it, so I think it would be best stuffed into one of these cryo-sleep caskets until we can figure out what we want to do with it. With that though, my friends, we have quite the little station built here. Now, it's nothing too fancy, and just enough to really get started on some research and experiments, but I think it's a pretty good start. Just as well, we also have a fairly decent start to our crew, although we need to do a lot more cloning, and that way we can build things and do other things a lot faster as well. All in all, though, I think we're doing pretty good for ourselves. Whoa, what the hell was that? Uh-oh. I think the humans just started their nuclear war. Ahead of schedule. I think we should probably get in the cryopods just in case.